Hi, I'm Elaine Harding. Welcome to episode 4 of 6 in my 6-week Halloween countdown series. I'm really excited about this one. This is the ultimate treat box holder using the Tricks and Treat bundle. You'll find it on page 50 of the September to December 2023 mini. And this is the stamp set. And these are the dies, 2 sets of dies on 2 cards. So that one makes an actual treat holder, and these are the dies that go with a house, the Frankenstein face, corn sweets, a ghost, this pretty label, another face for Dracula, the word boo. I don't know what that's for. I assume these are for the pockets. I haven't explored the bag yet. I just wanted to make a treat holder with it. Also using the greeting from the Bag of Bones stamp set. This also is part of the bundle, and if you haven't got it yet and you want the dies and the stamp set, it will save you 10% if you purchase it as a bundle. But we're not using the dies today, we're just using the stamp set. These glow in the dark embellishments, and this is glow in the dark paper. Can you see that glow in the dark? If I open the box, you can see. No, it doesn't show it very well, does it? But it does glow in the dark. These are the glow in the dark papers we're going to be using. There's 8 sheets in a pack of 6x6, and there's a coarse side, it feels like sandpaper, and on the other side it's just smooth. So it's the coarse side that you need to use. This paper picks up all the fibres in your cutting plate if you've got a heavily marked cutting plate. So you'll need a lint brush to remove the fibres from the paper, but if you haven't got one, then just wrap some painter's tape or sellotape around your hand and then just tap it and pick up the fibres that way. We're also going to be using the glow in the dark bats and ghosts embellishments. Them Bones 12x12 designer series pattern paper. And it's this one that I'm using, skeletons. There are tombstones, more skeletons. This is Cajun Craze, tombstones in a night sky, corduroy, and bats on this side. Black and white gingham ribbon. Stays on ink, tuxedo black memento ink, and pumpkin pie. Now, a word of caution, if you're using stays on ink on your photopolymer stamps to stamp on this specialty paper, ordinary ink will take very, very long to dry. So the best ink to use really for stamping on the glow in the dark paper is stays on ink. But stays on ink is not kind to photopolymer stamps because over time the solvent in the stays on ink will break down the photopolymer stamps. So if you wish to use stays on ink on photopolymer, you need a stays on all-purpose cleaner to remove the ink from the stamps. It will stain the photopolymer stamps, but a word of caution, if you're going to be using stays on photopolymer, you need to remove the ink immediately and then wash it under the tap, wash the stamp under the tap with a mild detergent and then pat it dry and leave it to air dry. But the solvent does break down the photopolymer stamps over a period of time. Whenever I use black on anything, I always use tuxedo black memento ink rather than stays on. But on this paper, there's no alternative. I'm also going to be using the Crafter's Tips tools. There's a rotary perforating blade. There's a hobby knife, so we're going to be using that. And there's also a double-ended piercing tool. One is for removing all the bits in your intricate die cuts, and the other one is a piercing tool. The reason why this is missing from the box is because I have it permanently on one of my take your pick tools. So because these are interchangeable, you can just unscrew the top where it's thicker on the screw top section where the putty is, and screw that in while your blade cap is still on to protect yourself from getting cut, and then just screw that in. I found these treats at a department store quite by accident, and as you can see it's quite top heavy. They're marshmallow skulls and it's got a very long lolly stick, so I couldn't really pop them up like that. I had to lie them flat. So that's how this box evolved. The reason you need your craft knife is so that you can cut a hole in the middle of the box here. The punches won't reach, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. I'll run through the cardstock you need first. The treat holder base is a whole A4 sheet. Bring in the scoreboard, and with the long side at the top, you score at 3/4 inches. Rotate your cardstock anti-clockwise a quarter turn, and you score at 3 3/4 inches on the short side. Now rotate the cardstock 180 degrees and score the opposite side also at 3 3/4 inches. Burnish the score line. Just cut the tab straight up at the bottom to that first score line. The short score line should be facing you, and you want to use this score line and the edge of the paper to find the center. That's 3 3/4 inches, then 4.5 inches down. You want to make a mark. So to find the center, if you align the right edge of the paper at 7 7/8, then you can find the center at 6 inches, and use your ruler to go down 4.5 inches, which is round about here, and just put your stylus there and just make a mark. And that is where you can cut a couple of slots to thread your ribbon through on either side of that mark you've made. Of course it depends on what you're doing. You know, if you're getting the same size lollipop as me, but then you can adjust that, the height of it, to the size of your lollipop. But making the treat holder is the same principle. So I've put the stick there, so I know that I need to cut around here on either side of the stick. Just the width of the ribbon. Mirror that on the other side. I'm going to pop my ribbon through with the other end of the take your pick tool with the spatula. And I'm doing this now so that I don't forget. Snip that off. Okay. Now I can set it aside. So you need 2 matte layers in pumpkin pie, and this measures 3 inches by 10 1/4 inches, and in metric that's 7.5 by 26 centimeters. So I know I'm going to forget because I've done it before. So I'm going to put the ribbon on, find the middle, so it's roughly about there. another length of ribbon, and that's to tie around the box. Want it long enough to be able to tie. So now we can put this mat layer on the back. I've already put double-sided tape on the back, and I'm using tape rather than glue because of the ribbon. Release the tabs. I don't want to take off all the double-sided tape, because if I glue it on crooked, I'm going to make a mess. So I can start off by gauging the correct position just in a corner like so, and when I'm happy with it, I can release the rest of the tape. So that's okay. So this side also has double-sided tape, and repeat the process for the treat holder front. Now the designer series paper layer was cut at 2 3/4 by 10 inches, and in metric that's 7 centimeters by 25.5. Double-sided tape on the back. Remember to do that. I should have put it under the other layer, but I forgot. So better late than never. Now we want to do the lollipop holder, and this measures 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. So rounded off, that will be 15 by 15 centimeters. So you score 2 adjacent sides at 3/4 inches and 1.5. So that's adjacent, just quarter turn, 3 1/4 and 1.5. And then the remaining adjacent sides just at 3/4. And in metric that will be the 2 adjacent sides at 2 centimeters, 4 centimeters, 2 centimeters, 4 centimeters, 2 centimeters and 2 centimeters. Now this is the template. The 3/4 inch should be at the left, and 3/4 inch score line at the bottom nearest to you. So the ones with the double score line should be at the top and on the right. So let's burnish the lines first. You want to cut straight up to the first score line, and to the left of this score line you just cut a wedge. Okay, and on this one you also cut a wedge, but this time to the right of the score line. Then you want to cut away this square. Alright, then rotate the cardstock so that the double score line is on your left, and you just want to cut up to the first score line here and cut this square away. Then cut a wedge to the left of the score line. Now rotate the cardstock so that the double score line is at the bottom closest to you, and the double score line is on the right. Now this double score line here, we're going to cut a star shape with the craft knife. and this bit will be the side of the box here. Now rotate the cardstock so that your double score line is on the bottom and the double score line is on your right. Actually, I'm going to have to burnish the score lines the other way now. And the reason is because I've just realised that this single score line is glued to the inside here, like so. You put adhesive here, so that backs up to this. So this is the top where you have to cut your hole for the lollipop stick. So I'm just going to mark it here. So that means when you've got the two double score lines facing you, this one facing you and that one on the right, this score line here, the second one in, needs to be cut all the way up to the second score line. Alright, and basically you're going to cut away this piece here, so let's cut that off. So you cut both these up to the second score line, and this one you just cut up to discard the two squares here and only one square down here. Alright, so then your cardstock should look like this. I'm just going to cut a wedge here, one there, back the self-healing mat, and I'm just going to cut across here. Can you see? Then I'm going to cut it like a star, only to the centre, because, and rotate the cardstock as I go. So pull the craft knife toward the centre in a star shape. Alright, grab that off. So there are my cuts. It's like a star. Now you've prepped the lollipop holder, there's a bit of matte layer and stamping to be done. So this is in basic black, and this measures 3.5 by 3.5, and in metric that's 9 by 9 centimeters. I'm going to glue this on while it's still flat. And the matte layer is 3 3/8 by 3 3/8, and in metric that's 8.5 by 8.5. So I'll glue that in as well. Make sure that it's the right way up. So that's the lollipop holder, and stamp Happy Halloween in the middle. And that was from the Bag of Bones set. And stamp the tombstones and then the bats here. Now we can assemble the box, putting glue on the tabs, gluing that down. Putting glue on these tabs and gluing that to the flaps. I'll glue that corner down like so. Wait until it bonds. Now you need to trim this bit off, but I wanted to do it after I'd glued the lollipop holder to it. Put glue on here and put it up to the side of the box at the base, and then just hold it there. You want to make sure that you can still close the box. Glue this flap to this bit here. And hold that until it bonds. Just trim off the excess here. Okay, then put glue on this bottom flap. Close your box there, and then bring that flap up to glue it to the base of the lollipop box. Alright, and you can bring your lollipop in and poke it through here, and to keep it from flopping out or sliding through the top, you just tie that. Now we can trim this bit off. So I'm going to turn it upside down and trim it from here. Now next I'm going to stamp the Dracula and the Frankenstein faces with StazOn ink. Now I'm not really all that comfortable stamping it on photopolymer stamps, so I might have to stop the video and go straight away to wash the stamps off. I'm doing it on the Stamparatus because I might need more than one inking. Depends on whether it comes out or not. That's come out, so that's lucky. And I'll have to be quick because I want to go and wash this off as soon as possible. So Stampin' Up does supply a StazOn all-purpose cleaner, so I'm just going to rub a little bit of that to remove the ink, but I'm going to have to stop the video and go straight away to clean this off in the sink and wash it off. So I'm back. I've cleaned my stamps. It's still stained, as you can see, but it's not as bad as it would have been. Pop them on my cutting sandwich, so platform 1, thin die adapter platform 2, base cutting plate platform 3, the dies cutting edge face down on top of the glow in the dark paper, then top cutting plate on top, and I'll run that through the machine and I'll be back. So now the last thing to do is I can glue this onto the inside. Pop that there. Don't discard the leftovers, put them back in the bag. I can use it for something else. Bring in the ghosts and bats. That's the inside done, and just get some dimensionals, stick that on the back. Add a few more. And voila, that's done. Just tie a bow to keep it together. Voila, there's my long, thin treat holder. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll be back with more inspiration next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.